Hello everyone, it's Mesme and today we have a story time. I have a couple of stories about creepy people in Korea, so why don't we get started? Okay, so recently I've been working at an English camp in Seongnam and I've had to commute there. It takes me about over an hour to get there, but it's all good. After work I've actually experienced some really odd things. Last week I was running to my bus because I didn't want to miss it. And I was just super irritated, ready to go home. So I'm about to cross the street towards the bus terminal in Seongnam. And then, as I'm listening to music, these two young these two young men approach me. And they kind of stopped me. And I thought they needed help with something, like getting somewhere or, telling them directions. So I took off my headphones and I was like, yes. And they were like, where are you from? And I'm like, America? And they were like, oh, you have such a bright face. And I'm like, thanks. And I guess they meant like you have such a happy looking face. I don't know. Anyway, so they were like, oh, we are volunteers for this Korean organization and we want to give you a Korean cultural experience is what they called it. So they started speaking Korean and the only things I could pick up was that they wanted me to follow them to this place about something about burning paper, about a thumbprint or your fingerprint, and they wanted to go to another station nearby. So they wanted me to follow them and I was like, no, I kind of want to go home, so no, maybe next time. You guys see my eyes, but not right now, I kind of want to go home. So yeah, there was these two guys here and I was trying to leave, but they were just being really pushy. Eventually I was kind of like, gotta go. I'm gonna miss my bus. Bye. So I left. So then I ended up texting my co-teacher, or my assistant Roger, and you guys have seen him on my Instagram. And I was like, hey, this weird thing just happened. These two guys kind of cornered me and they were trying to convince me to follow them. But of course, I'm an adult, and even if I was a child, I would not follow a stranger. So Roger messages me back and he's like, that's weird. I've had the same thing happen to me. So I explained to him the situation. He's like, oh. So basically what these people do is they kind of corner you and pressure you, trying to convince you that they can give you the power to be rich or live a happy life if you do this ritual with them, and then at the end they kind of pressure you to give them money and they won't let you leave until you pay them or something like that. So that's what I understood from what Chol and from what Roger told me. And Roger actually let me tell you guys that it actually happened to him too in Gangnam Station. He was approached by people telling him that he could have a successful future if he did like this ritual and followed them, and of course he didn't fall for it. So thank you, Roger, for letting me use your story. Story number 2. So again, after work last week, I'm running to my bus because it's about to leave and I needed to get my ticket. And I'm running and then I stop at the escalator. In Korea, you move over to the right side if you're not going to walk up the stairs. If you're just going to take the escalator, and on the left side is like you can walk on there. So this homegirl, Ajuma, doesn't move out of the way, and I'm like, great, why do they do this? You're supposed to move to the side. And so I'm waiting until this homegirl moves, and this guy next to me, he suddenly he just appeared out of nowhere, and I'm running, I'm running to the escalator. I finally stop, waiting for this homegirl to move. This guy next to me kind of says something, and I'm like, I take off my headphones, and I'm like, what? And he's like, do you know if there's a movie theater in this building? And I was like, yeah, but I don't know where it is. I'm not from here. And he's like, oh, I lost my phone and my friend has it and I need to find my friend at this theater. I really need to call him. Can I use your phone? And I'm like, I really need to go. And I'm looking at my phone time's ticking. So I'm like, 30 seconds. He's like, okay, I'll walk with you wherever you're going since you seem in a rush. So, I'm walking to buy my ticket nearby. He's calling his friend, but I guess his friend didn't answer. And so he's like, oh, he didn't answer. I'm sorry for bothering you. I'll just go find him. Thank you for your time. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So, I shrugged that off, and then it just suddenly clicked. I don't know why I'm so slow, but this has happened to my friends before. So apparently, I guess some guys here do this thing where they try to get your number by telling you that they lost their phone and they need to use your phone to call their friend, and that way they get to save your number. So they call their own phone and then they save your number there. So it just kind of hit me and I'm like, oh, I see what's going on here. After he had left, and I'm like, okay, well, I kind of expect a text message or a phone call from him later. thanking me for letting him use my phone and then being asked out. So I came home, you know, and I'm hanging out with Chol, and then I tell him what's going on, and then suddenly I get a text message, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And so Chol starts laughing. He's like, oh dear. And so it's a message from the guy, and I ended up just blocking him just because I expected some phone calls and I don't have time for that. So, you know, the days pass, and then yesterday night I'm hanging out with Chol, and I get like a account message from someone I don't know, and then it says, can I ask a question? Maybe I should have put a picture of it here. And I was like, who is this? He's like, oh, it's a Korean guy that borrowed your phone. And I'm like, oh yes, I remember. And then he's like, I guess I'll just show it here. But basically, I guess he wanted to keep in contact, and the fact that he said that he wanted to be brave as a man is like he's interested. And so I ended up telling him that I was married. But Chol was kind of laughing at it. He's kind of like, but yeah, that's random. I've had that happen. My friends have had that happen to them plenty of times. And yeah, just this story time is just for you to know that you should be careful. If you're being cornered by people, being pressured to follow strangers, don't follow strangers. If you're a single girl and hey, this guy, well, you know, think about it. Because if he would have liked you, he would have come up to you in person and be like, hey, where are you from? Can I get your number? Instead of being like, oh, I lost my phone. So as for me, if I was single, I still wouldn't have kept in contact because I didn't think that was brave. And I for sure know he didn't lose his phone. So that's my story time. Last but not least, about 2 years ago, I was on the subway, so I'm sitting down, and I guess there's this drunk guy next to me. And this is a very quick story, really random. And he turns around, and he looks at me, and he's like, Russian, Saddam? Like, asking me if I'm Russian. And in Korea, when people ask you if you're Russian, it means, actually, they're asking you if you are a prostitute. And I'm like, I remember I said, 아니요, 저는 미국 사람이에요. And he just looked at me like, oh, shit. Or, sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to cuss. So, he's like, oh, whoops. And so he gets up and just, like, walks away. Oh, wait, no. No. I remember he had put his head like this against my shoulder first. And then after I answered, I'm American, then he's like, whoops. And then he just, like, walks away. And then I have some other ones, but those I just don't really want to talk about because, you know, I got family watching and then they're going to be all worrying and stuff. So anyways, that's all for today. I hope that the story wasn't too long and boring. I just wanted to tell you guys because I thought it was kind of funny. I have another video coming out. I don't know about what because I forgot because, I don't know, I'm kind of sleepy. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I want to hear your stories about your creepy times in Korea. Bye!